Well, good morning, everyone. We had a very productive discussion, House and Senate Democrats standing together firmly on behalf of the American people. Taxpayer dollars should be used to make life more affordable for everyday Americans, not to brutalize or kill them. ICE is completely and totally out of control. Immigration enforcement should be just, it should be fair, and it should be humane. That is not what is taking place right now. Dramatic changes are necessary at the Department of Homeland Security with respect to its enforcement activities so that ICE and other agencies are conducting themselves like every other law enforcement agency in the country. Not in so many instances in a rogue or lawless manner. There are several demands that we will articulate on behalf of the American people, which of course include but are not limited to mandatory body cameras, judicial warrants, which in our view should be required before everyday Americans are ripped out of their homes or snatched out of cars violently. The Fourth Amendment is not an inconvenience. It is a requirement embedded in our Constitution that everyone should follow. Certainly, I think there's agreement that no masks should be deployed in an arbitrary and capricious fashion, as has been the case, horrifying the American people. And of course, I think the American people believe that ICE shouldn't be able to detain and deport American citizens, which we know is taking place right now. These are just some of the common sense proposals that the American people clearly would like to see in terms of the dramatic changes that are needed at the Department of Homeland Security before is a full year appropriations bill. It's now my honor to yield to a former distinguished member of the House of Representatives. All good things flow from the House, in our humble opinion.
Before that.
As I was as well.
I know.
And we're both from Brooklyn. But he's doing a tremendous job as the leader of the Senate Democrats, the Honorable Chuck Schumer.
Well, thank you, Hakeem, and let me thank you and my Senate colleagues, our House colleagues, and we had a really good and productive meeting, and we're on the same page. First, what is happening in our cities is just turns your stomach inside out. It's not just us. When Americans see the pictures of these goons beating people, pushing people, and even shooting and killing people, they say, this is not America. And what the hell is going on in our cities? It is reminiscent of dictatorship. And when some of these ICE thugs just keep beating and beating and beating a woman who's pushed to the floor, that's un-American. And the American people are on our side. 90% have seen the videos, according to a most recent survey. And they are appalled. And they are urging the Senate and the House, the Congress, and the White House to stop this. And so, Democrats, we have common sense, tough objectives to rein in ICE. And the Republicans need to get serious. 3 broad categories we all agree on. 1, none of these roving patrols. You can't just stop anybody on the street. You can't just pick them up and not even tell them why they're picked up, put them in some dark place, no access to a lawyer or a phone or anything else. You can't, there are certain places they shouldn't be able to go in, churches, synagogues, schools, election places. There should be no racial profiling as these bands of goons roam the streets. That's one. Two, we need real accountability. There's got to be oversight. There's got to be outside independent oversight by state and local governments, by individuals, and there's got to be a right to sue. There's got to be a right to go to court and stop this. And finally, no secret police. I find it amazing that the Speaker of the House, which are saying they should be allowed to have masks. This group, which needs to be identified more than any other group, should have a standard much more lenient and hidden than other police forces. I would bet when Speaker Johnson goes down to Louisiana, the sheriffs and the police deputies are well identified, as they are in almost every city. So we need cameras, and the cameras have got to be used in the right way. We can't just give them cameras, and you have to be specific as to how they ought to be used. They need identification and no masks except in extraordinary and unusual circumstances. We're united with the American people. We're united as House and Senate Democrats. We're going to have tough, strong legislation. We hope to have it within the next 24 hours that we will submit together. And then we want our Republican colleagues to finally get serious about this, because this is turning America inside out in a way we haven't seen in a very long time. Catherine.
Thank you,
Whip Clark, it says.
That's right. Thank you so much. I'm so proud to stand here with my colleagues, united as Democrats, united with the American people. That this violence we are seeing from ICE and CPB agents has to stop. Republicans promised two fundamental things. They promised an economy that would work for working people. We've seen how that's turned out. And they promised they would deport and use ICE to go after the worst of the worst. And what are we seeing? Renee Good and Alex Preddy killed in cold blood, executed. Kristi Noem, within hours of their deaths, declared them domestic terrorists. Stephen Miller called Preddy an assassin. But the American people have seen their deaths. They've seen the videos, and they know that this is a cover-up. We've seen an ICE agent tackle an American citizen, a 10th grader, ended up stealing his phone and pawning it for cash. We've seen them use little Liam Ramos, a 5-year-old, one to try and bait people to come out of their houses, and then they send him to detention in Texas. We've seen them tear gas children and peaceful protesters, including a 6-month-old baby. So it is time, and we are united with the American people, that DHS and this paramilitary force that they have created and unleashed on our American streets will be held accountable. Americans deserve to be safe and secure in their communities. Children deserve to be safe in their communities and their schools. And families need to know that mass police cannot break down a door just because they want to. There are protections of our laws, of due process, and our Constitution that we are going to stand up for and say no to this violence. This is what this fight is about, and I am proud to stand with Democrats to make sure that we give voice to the fears of Americans for where this country is heading and where this violence is taking us. And I am very proud to have a partner in Vice Chair Murray in this work, and thank her and Rosa DeLauro for all they have done on the appropriations process.
Well, thank you very much. And Mr. Speaker, I did not come from Brooklyn, nor did I come from the House, but I did come here as a mom in tennis shoes who today is very angry about what is happening to families in my community and across the country. Everyone in America with eyes and ears can see what's been happening in Minnesota and across the country. The injustice is clear as day, and what the American people are demanding is equally clear. Law enforcement cannot be lawless, but that's exactly what we have been seeing from ICE and from CBP. We have seen people that have done nothing wrong get abducted by masked agents with no warrant and shipped across the country. We have seen peaceful protesters and observers get tear gassed, tackled, detained, and even killed in cold blood. And we've seen the Trump administration responses grow more unhinged and infuriating by the day. The lies have become completely detached from reality. Enough. We are not going to fund a rogue department with its unchecked agents and officers. We are going to have accountability at DHS, or there will not be Democratic votes to fund a lawless agency. If Republicans refuse to make the changes the American people are demanding, they are forcing a Republican shutdown of DHS. The chaos, the brutality, all of it happened at the explicit direction of this president and a Republican Congress that wrote him a blank check. If Republicans want Democratic votes to fix that, then they need to understand that half measures won't cut it. What Democrats are demanding is reasonable and it is necessary. End the roving patrols. Hold federal agents accountable and hold them to the same standards as local law enforcement on basic things like use of force. Get masks off, get body cameras on, and ensure proper identification. Democrats are at the table. We are focused on getting a bill, but it has to be a bill that reins in the abuses that we are seeing by ICE and CBP. And I'll just say, Democrats, all of us, we are strongly support the mission of FEMA and the Coast Guard in this bill, but the American people are demanding guardrails to rein in ICE and Border Patrol. So that has to happen. Americans demanding accountability, we will settle for nothing less. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Murray. Thank you, Leader Schumer. Thank you, Whip Clark. Thank you to all of my colleagues in the House and the Senate for their incredible leadership and forcefulness. Questions?
Leader Jeffries, Leader
Hold on.
Jeffries, can I just get a level set here before we start these negotiations from Senator Schumer on why Leader Jeffries wasn't initially included in these negotiations, and if you're committed now to moving forward, being at the table together?
The House and Senate are completely and totally on the same page in terms of Democrats, as we've outlined. Leader Schumer and I had a close, positive conversation yesterday about the path forward. We've remained in close contact over the last several days, as we will continue to do. And what you see here is a representation of the entirety of the House Democratic Caucus and the Senate Democratic Caucus, united in reining in an agency, ICE, that's out of control, and a Trump administration that is actually unleashing state-sponsored violence on the American people and on law-abiding immigrant families. That's completely and totally unacceptable, it's unconscionable, and it's un-American. And so Democrats are united in pushing back in the ways that have been articulated. Thanks. Second row.
I was going to ask, what is the next steps? Are you going to have meetings scheduled with the White House? Who are you negotiating on the other side? We talked to Thune, he says you're talking to Trump. Other people say you're going to talk to Thune.
Let me yield to Senator Schumer.
Look, the bottom line is we're ready to sit down and negotiate but it's got to be strong, it's got to be tough, it's got to rein in ICE in very serious ways and end the violence. And we hope our Republican colleagues will meet us on that. We haven't, Leader Thune designated the senator from Alabama, but she's got to represent the Republican caucus. And we need the White House on board. We need the Senate Republicans. We need the House Republicans on board. And if they're not serious and they don't put in real reform, they shouldn't expect our votes, plain and simple.
Hold on a second. Manu.
The Speaker's already rejected 2 of your demands, judicial warrants and removing face masks. So if that's still his position, will you vote to shut the government down, shut the Department of Homeland Security down if he sticks to that position?
Mike Johnson and John Thune rejected the notion that the 6 appropriations bills should be divided. They rejected that notion. And I'm thankful for what Leader Schumer and Senate Democrats did, which is to draw a line in the sand and say, no, it's not going to go down that way. And that's why we're at this moment. So understand something. We get it over in the House. Mike Johnson and John Thune aren't working for the American people. They work for Donald Trump. And so many of my colleagues on the other side of the aisle, they function like a wholly owned subsidiary of the Trump cartel. So at the end of the day, listen, Trump understands that the public is not with the administration's cruel and chaotic policies here, and that we actually need to restore law and order as it relates to how we proceed. And we're ready to proceed in good faith.
Are those
to
red
sit
lines
down.
for you? Are those red lines for you?
Mike Johnson has articulated unreasonable positions. He's actually supporting the notion that mass and lawless ICE agents should be deployed in communities throughout America. That's Mike Johnson's position. That's contrary to what the American people believe should be taking place. Mike Johnson called the 4th Amendment an inconvenience. It's not an inconvenience. It's part of the fabric and DNA of our country. Just like the First Amendment, yes, even the 2nd Amendment, the 10th Amendment, the 4th Amendment, we're standing up for all of these constitutional privileges that have been part of who we are since the very beginning as we celebrate our 250th birthday. Chuck?
I'm just going to say, we're sending them a proposal and we await their response. But I think the American people are going to be amazed that the Speaker says that these secret police should continue to rove around in our cities unchecked.
Thank you, everyone.